The great Brahma gods, from each of the 5 pure abodes, brought the news to all beings that 100,000 years from now, a perfectly enlightened Buddha would arise in the world. Those who wish to meet up with him must maintain the 5 moral precepts and constantly develop loving kindness. Humans and deities wondered who the future Buddha might be, but no answer was forthcoming until a sign appeared, making the identity of the heavenly Bodhisattva known. The deities and Brahmas met together for the sake of inquiring who the Enlightened One would be. At that very moment, the answer became clear, as they all saw the 5 preliminary signs appearing in Santusita Devaputta. The 5 signs which appeared were withering of the decorative celestial flowers on his body, the divine raiment becoming discolored, sweat dripping from his armpits, his complexion becoming mottled, and a feeling of weariness with the heavenly world arising within him. Upon recognizing the 5 preliminary signs, the deities invited Santusita, the Buddha to depart from Dusita heaven and take birth in the human world. Santusita Devaputta then made the 5-fold survey of the earth to see if conditions were right for his birth. The first criterion was that the lifespan for human beings at the time must not be too short nor too long, suitable for attaining the Dhamma. The continent must be India and the country the middle country. He must be born either into the warrior caste or as a Brahmin, and his mother must be one pure in moral conduct with much accumulated spiritual virtue. Seeing that all of these conditions were fulfilled, the Buddha-to-be accepted the invitation to be born upon the earth.
How do you Royal astrologers, interpret the Queen's dream.
Your wife, the Queen's dream, indicates that you are to have a son. He will possess tremendous merit, great power and might. He will be peerless.
My lord, tradition calls for me to return to my family home at Dewataha to give birth.
You have my permission.
Counselors, let's stop and rest here. We have now completed half of our journey. The forest park of Lumpini is so beautiful and shady. We've been traveling half the day. You must all be tired. Let's rest for a while.
Your Highness, if that is your wish, then please rest beneath that solid tree over there.
I feel as if I'm about to give birth.
Quickly, join in and help. Her Majesty's time has come. Hurry, hurry!
As soon as the Bodhisattva was delivered from his mother's womb, and before he could drop to the ground, 4 great Brahma gods from the 5 pure abodes spread a net of gold to receive his body. On that day, the full moon of the 6th month, the year of the Buddha's birth, equivalent to 623 BC.
I am supreme in the world, foremost in the world, most excellent in the world. This is my last birth. There will be no more birth for me.
have heard the good news of your son's birth and have come to pay a visit.
Venerable Asita, I thank you very much. And as you have been respected by the Sakyan royal family for a long time now, would you be so kind as to examine my child's physical characteristics? The whole family gathered here would be able to hear.
Your Majesty, please place your child in the cradle first, so that I can see him well. This royal child exhibits all the characteristics of a great being laid down in the ancient texts. I have never seen any being with the signs expressed to such perfection.
Huh? Venerable Asita!
I have examined the characteristics of your newborn son. I predict that when your son has grown up, should he lead the household life, he will become a wheel-turning monarch, a great king of the world. But if he should leave, he will become a fully enlightened Buddha, supreme teacher of gods and humans. Oh, but it's such a pity.
What's such a pity, Venerable Asita?
It's a pity that I am too old to have the chance to live to see this great being grow up.
In the future, my son will be a great being with more power and might than any other in the world. From the 108 Brahmins I invited for the naming ceremony, you 8 have been selected to interpret my baby son's characteristics. You are all proficient. Please give your prediction for my son's future life.
Your Majesty, having examined your son's characteristics, I predict that, should he inherit your throne, he will become a great wheel-turning monarch with an empire that spreads far in every direction. But should he go forth as a monk, he'll become the perfectly enlightened Buddha, the unequaled supreme teacher and guide to the world.
Venerable Kundanya, you are the last of the 8 Brahmins. Do you agree with the other 7 Brahmins that my son has 2 courses, either to become a great wheel-turning monarch or to become a fully enlightened Buddha?
I have considered your son's characteristics in detail. And can see only one path for him. He will certainly not live as a householder, but will go forth as a monk. Then he will become enlightened as the Lord Buddha. This is beyond doubt, Your Majesty.
You predict my son will reject the household life. What would cause him to make such a decision.
Your son will see 4 signs: an old man, a sick man, a dead man, and a monk. These signs will inspire him to give up the royal throne for the sake of the holy life, through which he will become enlightened as the Buddha.
Well, I'd like my son to be a great wheel-turning monarch, ruling the 4 great continents, the greatest prestige for any king. From this point onwards, I will not allow my son to ever see an old, sick, or dead man, or a monk.
Having predicted the prince's future life, the 8 Brahmins gave him the auspicious name Siddhartha, meaning he who will succeed in that which he desires. Having returned to their homes, each of the Brahmins instructed their sons that when the time comes for the new prince to leave the household life, they should go forth and follow him. Seven days after Prince Siddhartha's birth, his mother, Queen Siri Mahamaya, passed away and became a god in the heaven of Tusida. So King Suddhodana had Queen Siri Mahamaya's younger sister Mahapajapati raise Prince Siddhartha. Later, the king took Mahapajapati as his new queen. King Suddhodana and Queen Mahapajapati had a son and a daughter together, but the queen still loved and cared for Prince Siddhartha as if he were her own son.
Both of you would like to go and watch the plowing ceremony, wouldn't you? Today my father has had the city decorated in preparation for a great ceremony. It only takes place once a year. Go and watch. I will simply sit here. You needn't worry about me.
With your permission, we'll go and watch for a while. As soon as the ceremony is finished, we'll be right back, Your Highness.
Left alone in a peaceful and shady glade, Prince Siddhartha began to sit in meditation, attaining the tranquility of the first jhana. As the afternoon passed by, the shadows of all the trees moved with the course of the sun, except for the shade of the rose apple tree under which the prince sat. It did not shift position, but remained steadily in place. When the companions returned and saw this wonder, they were startled and conveyed the news to the king, who went to see for himself.
When my son was newly born, Asita the hermit came to look at him, and to my surprise he bowed at my son's feet. On that day, I also bowed to my son for the first time. Now, my son has performed this marvel. Having seen it, I feel I must bow to him for a second time.
When Prince Siddhartha was 7 years old, King Suddhodana had 3 ponds dug in the grounds of the palace, so that the prince could enjoy himself playing with his friends. Upon seeing that the prince had grown sufficiently to begin his education, King Suddhodana sent him to study with the renowned teacher Visavamitra. Prince Siddhartha trained in 18 arts and sciences until he was adept. He was his teacher's top student, and before too long he had learnt all that his master could teach. When Prince Siddhartha reached the age of 16, King Suddhodana had 3 palaces built for his son, one in which to reside during the hot season, one for the rainy season, and one for the cold season. The king, wishing to prevent his son from leaving the household life, consulted with his ministers and obtained the hand of Princess Yasodhara for him in marriage. Time passed by until Prince Siddhartha reached the age of 29 years.